Hello and welcome to this week's look at action and stunts on film and television. I hope you're well. Welcome to Friday. If you've heard the podcast this week, you'll know that we are looking at a part of the stunt business that is referred to as blind driving. It doesn't mean that you stick somebody behind the wheel who is partially sighted and hope for the best. They are blind because they are out of sight from the camera, is primarily the reason it's called blind. Why they do this was a number of reasons, but particularly the basis of the show this week was a group on Facebook that were discussing Knight Rider. And those moments in Knight Rider where Kit, who is a character himself, the car, would drive around the corner, pick up Michael Hasselhoff, and would drive off with him driving. Well, that's how it started. And there are some really quite interesting photographs that I found in relation to that. That then sent me down a rabbit hole in connection to other forms of blind driving, other ways to conceal the driver on film. And we're going to have a little look at that as well. So it's a whole smorgasbord of concealment is what we're looking at today. And we'll have a look at this and we'll come back and regroup afterwards. Here we go. So let's start with Knight Rider.
You feel it just when you push the accelerator down.
Michael, it looks like he's going to ram us.
You feel it coming toward the ramp. You're up in the air, you feel like you're up there 15 seconds. Realistically, you're probably in the air 3. The impact is horrible. That's the part that really hurts. You get so much adrenaline out of it. This adrenaline push is just unreal, unlike anything you've ever felt.
If I had nerves, that would have been nerve-wracking.
With the Kit car, we always wanted to jump higher, faster, longer, make it look more elaborate, do things that people hadn't seen before. Knight Rider was in a city, so we decided let's do car jumps in a crowded city. Let's do them in, alley to alley, across cars, places where it was really, really a tight fit. And so it took a lot more technical knowledge to try and figure out, if I line up on a ramp and I'm off by a foot here, it's going to be off 10 feet on the other side. And if there's a building there, that's a bad thing. The way we started with the show, it was 2 cars, a computer car and a stunt car, and that was pretty much it. And the computer car, they wouldn't let me touch. I mean, it was strictly David gets in this and gets out of it, and he gets to drive it, and nobody else gets in this car. We had one shot we were doing where David wanted to drive our hugely expensive computer car around the corner, and I said, no, let's just put him in a stunt car. And they said, we've already loaded all the stunt cars. They're already on the car carrier going to the next location. All we have is this computer car. Can he drive that one? And I said, yeah, he can drive it great, but it's not set up like our stunt cars. And they said, well, that's all we have. He's just going to come around the corner fast, and that's all it is. So I said, okay, great. And we're sitting there, and here comes David around the corner, and he's flying. And I went, oh, no.
Jack Gill was my stunt guy, and we became really close friends, and he was really, he really took great pride in showing me how to drive. And so we went out to the Saugus Speedway and just took the car out and learned how to do 180s, and 360s, and how to go around the corner really quickly and fishtail out and turn back into the turns.
I was trying to keep him from getting hurt, but then trying to show him as much as we could to make him look like he was doing all these big, huge stunts. And after about 6 to 8 episodes, David was a great car driver. I mean, he could really handle the car. The problem was we didn't want to get him hurt. And so even for the jumps, I couldn't put him in any of the jumps, but for sliding around corners and coming in fast, David was the guy.
All right, get in here fast.
When Kit drives up by himself, I designed a car that would drive from the right. And I would be hidden inside the seat, and I could drive up quickly, slam on the brakes, David could jump in, and we could drive out in one shot. And the only problem that came out of that is David and I fought over who was driving once he got in the car. It was always, let go of the wheel, I've got it. And I'd say, no, I'm driving, you act. And he's saying, I'm in the car, I want to drive. The good part about that was that I'm hidden in the seat and I can hit him anytime I wanted.
I would have been here sooner, but you didn't tip the valet.
We got different kinds of cars to do different things. You know, one would do 160 miles an hour and one was 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And I had a car that would jump long distances and a car that would jump small distances and cars that were set up for dirt, cars that would do burnouts really well. We had a car with a big engine and a nitrous system in it, so I could really just take off just like that. There was always one big master stunt for each episode, and every one of them was life-threatening. It's not to say that accidents don't happen on the set, they always do, and we were never virgins with that either. We had a lot of cars that got crashed, and only because you're jumping a car, you know, an extreme amount of distance and dropping 4,000 pounds to the cement and compressing your spine. And that's why I now have this titanium plate in my neck, is from all the whiplash. But, knock on wood, we never had any major injuries, not at all.
Gotta try it sometime, you'll like it. I'll catch you later.
Night Rider was a testing ground for all of us. When Kit or David had to back out of that moving semi, we did that reel. I only had 3 inches on either side of the mirror to back it out. And once you backed it out, you're going down the road at 50 miles an hour. You had to be in neutral, and you backed it out when the rear wheels touched. You then put it in drive, let the van go away, and then lock it up and throw a big 180 and go the other direction. It was pretty tough. And every now and then I'd rip a mirror off.
What a neat car.
The most fun that I ever had was seeing kids that come up that think this car can really drive itself. And so I would go hide. I'd go around to the backside of David's motorhome and get in the seat and cover myself all up. David Hasselhoff would say, okay, kid, come on. And, you know, there'd be 50 kids standing around, and I'd come flying around the corner and stop. And he'd say, come a little closer, back up, and we'd play the whole thing out. We had a bunch of kids that had gotten off the school bus and came running over to see the car. Well, they had just seen this episode of a bunch of thugs coming in and beating on the car with baseball bats, and there was absolutely no damage. Well, these kids came off, come over to the car and start kicking it and bashing it and beating on it, and it's denting.
Having fun now?
Yeah.
I grew up with it. I found my wife, on Knight Rider, and it was amazing. But with Knight Rider, we were really pushing the envelope on every single episode.
Kid, you there? Where would I go?
So a number of exciting ways. This is the seat, and you can see the build of the back of it there. So the driver will be in there. He's looking out through the head restraint. It's all very practical. You can see there's the small steering wheel there. So everything is being captured in the shot, right? Now that's for those shots. And of course, Jack was referring to those occasions when Michael would jump in the other side. Hasselhoff would jump in the driver's side and he was in the blind side. But this is how it's done. And you can stretch back and you are covered by that seat. So you cannot be seen by the camera on those shots. These are practically done. We're going to have a look at some other examples of practically done. Funnily enough, with Jack Gill, who was also in charge of Goldmember.
Very rarely do you have a lot of action on a big comedic film. I mean, I've had maybe 3 or 4 that were big, but this has been the biggest comedy/action film that we've had because it's got so much action in it. The good part about this show is that they've given us time to rehearse this beforehand, and I shoot it on video and then show it to Jay and Mike so that they can get a feel for it, and then I get input back from them. They'll come back and say, we love this part of it, let's get this a little bigger. This part over here doesn't look like it's going to work as well, so let's put something else over in that spot. By the time we get to the shooting version of it, it's become exactly what they wanted. We're not wasting time trying to figure out how things work and what looks funny and what doesn't.
Everything on this is timing to try to get everything into frame. We've got so many different elements that have to line up. Choppers coming in head on, right on the deck, squib hits going off,
We hold our line when we get to the bullet hits, and then as soon as that bomb goes off, I gotta make a hard swerve out into the dirt on a street bike. There was so much dust and debris and everything that I couldn't see where I was going, which was a little precarious, but it worked good, so I'm happy.
And he's going. He's out.
The sequence involves parachuting into a car. Have to be inside of a seat we made. It's a seat cover that goes over the top of me, so that when you film the car, it looks like no one's driving it. We had to time it with the skydivers.
I was downwind. I was in turbulent air. I had no communication with the driver.
I have no visual at all on it. I'm just listening to verbal cues telling me slow down, speed up.
So I would actually set up a little over the hood, because right towards the end, the canopy actually starts to slow down. Right about 5 seconds, I felt like I was a little ahead of the thing.
I thought maybe I'd lost him.
Just as I looked down, the windshield just slipped a little bit in front of me, and I laid back, caught up, cut away.
It takes a whole team of people to make that work.
Probably most famous, Tomorrow Never Dies, James Bond, and of course the blind driving where the car is uncrated and scoots around here, and of course the car park sequence as well. Steve Griffin behind the wheel here, and as we will see a little later on, he has a row of screens to look at. This is shot in reverse. There we go. Now this is Dickie Beer behind the wheel, testing the BMW and seriously giving it the beans, as you can see here. But he does overcook it a touch as he comes out, slides and hits the bank, and the whole thing rolls over. Oops. Dickie's fine. There's the inside shot. Look, hey, there it goes. Rolled back over. So this is now Steve Griffin putting it through its testing on the back lot, making sure that everything works. They come back. It's grainy photography. It's from Germany, this particular program. I haven't seen this one before. And you can see all of the screen, the huge quantity of equipment he's got in there. But those 3 screens on front will enable him to drive the car within certain markers. Most important that they get all of that done. But a remarkable sequence for the BMW. And here's another shot from early stages, right? So that screen had changed over time. You saw the screen there where Steve was sitting. Very different to this, very different to that as well. But nevertheless, a good example of blind driving. So there you are, a variety of different ways to conceal your stunt driver if you feel the urge to do so, if the script depends on it and the story relies on it, and you can do it that way. Just a very interesting way of being able to do it. Huge amounts of work gone into concealment there. That whole idea that Andy Gill would be completely covered from head to foot as a seat. I mean, startling. And being able to just peep out through the little holes in the front of, in the head restraint. Effectively, his head is the head restraint. It was really very, very clever stuff. And then to not be able to hear, or not be able to see, and having to rely on, voice prompts to say, no, as you are, stay as you are, ease up, quicken up a little bit, slow down, but he's in, and then the parachutist is in, and then he can carry on his driving. Absolutely fascinating. So I hope you've enjoyed that. We'll regroup again next week and do more of the same, I dare say. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Down here, click the Linktree link. That is where you'll find all of the social media. And you'll also find details. There's a playlist on here in relation to one of my other projects. Bond Buzz. If you're a James Bond fan, Bond Buzz, you'll find all the episodes that are YouTubed up there. And well, as I say, we'll do it all again next week. Until then, it's bye for now.